Hi everybody, my name is Justin Egan, and you can give me a follow at Egan Soccer Words on Twitter. And this is my favorite play from the last NYCFC game versus Orlando City. So to kind of set up the scene, it's the 33rd minute. This is immediately right after the hydration break. And this was the big turning point in the game for me. The previous, 33 minutes, NYCFC had a lot of difficulty breaking down the Orlando City press. Especially passing out of the back, everything was incoherent. Ronny Deila at the hydration break had some quote-unquote hard words for his squad, and it seemed to have worked out, because if we take a look at the game flow, Orlando City pretty much had all of their expected goals before the hydration break, whereas NYCFC improved immensely right after that break. Team Chino is getting ready to play the ball on the reset, and Orlando City is set up in a 4-4-2. So the 4-4-2 is kind of designed to keep the ball out of the middle, right? You have four players, both forwards and both center midfielders, that you are looking to, create this box and to funnel the ball to the outside. Now, how do you break this? You usually are going to want to create some type of overload on one of the wide sides and really make the wide midfielder and the fullbacks really choose who are they going to guard, and it's going to create holes and opportunities. So, for example, Chino has two options, right? Or actually three options, right? He can reverse to Collins, but DK is kind of up there already, getting ready to pressure that pass. He can pass the ball into Alex Ring, but it seems like both forwards are actually pinched in to prevent that pass, or he can get the ball to Keaton Parks. Now, one of the ways that you can break the 4-4-2, right, is by having your holding midfielder drop in between over here and spread out and create a three-man defensive line over here, but Ring does not do that, and it kind of forces, in this case, some passes by Keaton Parks, because ideally, right, Chino would be making this pass over to Keaton Parks, and if Ring was actually over here, that would be forcing this player to go and guard him. But because he's not, he's going to come over and guard this pass instead of the central midfielder coming up to guard that pass. Now, ideally, when Chino gets Parks the ball over here, if the central midfielder comes up, basically Parks can turn around and force a 2-on-1 overload. The wide midfielder, Nani, on this side is going to have to decide, am I going to guard Anton Tinnerholm or Gary Mackay-Stevens? And so if you're an opposing coach, who would you guard? It's obviously going to be Anton Tinnerholm. So as we watch the play move forward, because, right, Keaton turns around and is looking to make that pass, but because he is being guarded by the forward instead of the central midfielder, he actually very correctly is going to play the ball back to Chino and stay in this passing triangle with Chino and Ring. So when he passes the ball back, I hope you noticed, like, Chanot did a really good job of beckoning Ring into that space that he should have been in before on the reset. Now, he beckons him into the space, and he actually has 2 open passes to Ring or wide to Keaton Parks. And when he makes this pass into the middle to Ring, you can already see the central midfielder is going to have to come up to guard him and is going to create all of this space behind him. So when he makes that pass in, they stay in that passing triangle, but now we have all of this space up the field, and Nani, right, he has to make that decision. Am I going to go and guard Anton Tinnerholm, or am I going to guard Gary Mackay-Stevens, who is going to come in and into that vacated space? And so Gary makes a very nice run back into here, and we kind of see a new passing triangle set up between Gary, Keaton, and Alex Ring. So Nani is staying out wide. We can't see where Tinnerholm's position, but you probably still have the fullback over here. Now, on the other side, we did have Medina begin to pinch in, and because we saw that the passing triangle began to pull the central midfielders out of position, we do see Chris Mueller begin to pinch in on Jesus Medina. Now, that's going to be important because if the overload doesn't work on one side, you are going to switch sides of the field and do the same thing on the other side. And if we can. So as we see this passing triangle with Gary and Keaton play out, eventually Orlando is now kind of like pulled onto this side of the field. Goody had seen all of that space and is now just waiting for the ball to get reversed so he can get in behind, because Chris Mueller now is way out of position in the central midfield over here, and because Matarrita is in this inside channel, the defensive line has to respect that, or else he can get in behind as well. Now, Ring reverses the pass to Collins, who makes the very easy pass to Goody, who is now in behind on Chris Mueller and is now going to have an open cross. Mata on the inside channel, it needs to be respected by the fullback. You have Tati running at the near post. You have Gary coming into the box as well, which is going to set up all of this space for Keaton to come in behind the defensive line. And one of the things, even though this year he's been very limited in terms of, getting into the box, when he is able to make those runs, not only is he a really big target for crosses, he's a very big boy, but he also is probably like one of the most composed NYCFC players in the box in terms of keeping composure and his dribble. So as we see Goody make this cross, Keaton had like half a dozen dribbles in here, and while this did not result in an NYCFC goal, it was definitely an indicator of the play that NYCFC needs in terms of breaking the press, playing out of the back. that they needed, and eventually Keaton scored a goal and they were able to get a point.